Hello, good morning, good morning. Guten Morgen. Alright guys, I'm going to be waiting for a sell if a candlestick can break these lows over here. Let's see if we can first create a resistance. Yeah, alright. Let's see if we can create a resistance. I'm going to be looking for a sell. This could be that pullback. You know, yesterday we also got similar thing. When London session opened up, we got like a pullback first and then sell continuation. Might even get that liquidity grab happen again on the 5-minute like yesterday. See, this 5 minutes still open. Look at it. Look, it's still open. Look at it. It could flip. See how I pulled up right up there? All right, beautiful. Create resistance. All right, at the break of these lows, I'm going to be getting in. 5 minute just about to flip. So you can get a break of the lows. Come on, we need a strong break of those lows. This candle needs to break. All right, I got triggered. Holy. Holy, stop loss to break even already here, guys. Stop loss to break even. Come on, give me a continuation. I haven't set my TP level. Stops out to break even. Come on, Goldie, let's melt. Beautiful. Let's go now. Simple. Securing right over here, guys. TP smash. Let's get it, boys. Stop playing with me. Like that lion. We come in, we see our opportunity. Simple. Dubs in the chat. Dubs in the chat. Stop playing with me. Yeah, that's exactly the way we're doing gold right now. Gold sells. Man, that was crazy dumb. I've been getting crazy dumps today. My first trade I saw 4%, but when the time that I closed, it closed me at like 2%. I saw 4% on my first trade, and it did the same exact thing. It like pushed heavy, and then by the time I closed, it like pulled up again. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Yep, that's it. Now I can go. Now I'll go back to bed. Literally. That's it. 2 trades a day. Simple. Zero drawdown strategy. TFX concepts, baby. Come on now. But yeah, we're like crazy bearish today. We're down negative 1.3% on the daily. Insane. Price pushed down about, you know, like 60 pips over here. Pretty good. You in a short? No. Pretty damn good. This morning straight down beautifully, but as I close it pulled up almost split second. Yeah, it's you know, that's the thing about trading. It's always in those split seconds where it's like make or break. Right? Like it happens so quickly. You don't always get the smoothest trades. So it's really important to be locked in as much as you possibly can. But yeah, it's like it's trying to shake people out. You can see it had already a pretty nice move over here. The market knows this. It knows where these high value entry points are. So it comes down, does this type of thing. It tries to shake people out. Every time the market has a move like this, it knows it's paying people off. So it doesn't always just keep going in that direction. Especially because, you know, we're getting the tail end of this thing now because price has been moving down since the Asia session. Look at this, all the way down over here. So we're getting the tail end of it. So we got to be like a little bit more cautious. As you say, like, you know, the early bird catches a worm. That's why I don't like trading New York session. Even the London session sometimes is a bit late. Pre-Londons are where it's at for me, for the most part. Pre-London sessions. At least even the people who trade Asia, especially when markets are moving so much, they're going to get like pretty good opportunities. But I do like that pre-London time because it feels like we get a bit more of like direction, you know, because Asia sometimes also can chop up them pre-London because pre-London would already be preempting the London Open over there. So we start to get a bit more of that direction coming sooner. Then we get London session, little continuations if possible. But remember, guys, this is just like yesterday. People keep thinking gold can't move down. It can move way further than you think. This thing can literally dump another 400 pips. You know? Simple. Look at this. I haven't spoke about this yesterday, but no one watches my actual videos. You guys are only going to stop paying attention when I show you a Bugatti. But until that day, you know, it's going to be late by that day though as well. I'm not going to be as putting in effort anymore. So, you know, take advantage with all the content that I post right now. You see, we posted yesterday, this could be gold's turning point. I was explaining to you guys not to marry a bias because things could be switching up. And, you know, these things are things that people, they catch on to too late. It's always too late to catch on to these things. So we leave gems here and there of like how you actually can start anticipating like certain rollovers in the market. You see, we're starting to get a turning point. We're literally below $4,000 right now, which is insane. And then posted this nice little psychology clip over here, which I think is also quite important because a lot of us struggle with complexity in the market. And once you start focusing on things which are more simple, you start to actually see that it's through simplicity that you're going to get the results that you want. And it's the reason why people love companies like Apple so much, because Apple has found a way to create something so complex and make it so simple and precise. It's so clean cut. You know, that's why we love Apple products. Not because they're complicated, you know, but because they can do so much by being so simple. You think next week's still selling gold? No, we got to take it like slowly, you know. We can't already start talking about next week. I don't even know what I don't know. I don't know next week. I don't have a crystal ball. Man, I wish I had a crystal ball. I could tell you guys next week and the week after that. But it's much more easier to preempt a little bit more with the market direction. Like we just take it slowly. We take it day by day. And then we get subtle hints, you know, medium term, sometimes longer term predictions. Yeah, we don't even know about tomorrow FOMC. Wait for the FOMC tomorrow. Wait for the... Oh my days. Look at this thing. Just complete melting over here. Holy. 1,000 pips already on the day from wick to wick. Very slow. I would say it's been a really good month. I think we took less trades than usual, but we're pretty much up for the month. Like 34. Actually, not bad. 34 trades. Quite a lot. Quite a lot of trades this month. But October has been, for some reason, one of my favorite months for weird reason. I think it's been a bit more clean to see the moves. Like the cluster of winning trades have been a bit more easy. I think that's also because it's coming more towards the end of the month over here. September still got some W's. Actually pretty nice. Really nice streak there. It's actually a lot easier to see your trades like this when you journal them. To see the performance. And when you stick to like 1 or 3 trades a day, then you know every trade that you take is gonna have like a strong meaning. Man, look at this thing go. Holy. Oh my days. People who still think, oh, gold could have bottomed out by now. I caught the bottom. Trust me, guys, don't play with the market. People need to stop playing with the market. These retail mindsets, like I'm also a retail mindset, but we need to stop playing with the market. It can keep going way longer than we think. And just because like when market conditions slow down and you're going to start thinking that oh, things are moving slow again, just never forget this moment. Trust me, like this is a market cycle that you're going to learn a lot from. This market cycle, it's teaching you so much right now. So don't forget about this next year, because I don't know, next year we're going to be getting crazy volume like this. We might not, but don't forget about the market cycle you've experienced in 2025. This has been one of the most potent times to learn about like true PA, with this amount of volume and like true psychology around price action. 2025, amazing year. Best year on gold, best year gold has ever had. So man, if you've been locked in this year, so much opportunity to learn, because the market's not always like that. So yeah, we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna see how long this lasts for. I think it's probably gonna last until the second quarter of next year, because we got one more rate cut this year, and I think we're gonna have more rate cuts for the dollar next year as well. And also Trump is still president, so there's always going to be something cooking. Love this yesterday video. Do you think human psychology is now also pushing price lower? People who are holding for a long time, closing selling? Yeah, I think so. I think it's like that profit taking that we saw like all the way up over here. First of all, because this doesn't happen by accident, right? When you have a big ass candle like this, we've never had a candle this big in such a long time. That just doesn't happen by accident. So I think like we're just seeing people profit taking. It's also, we're heading towards the end of the year right now. So, all these rich people are just gonna look in to secure some profits. All these really wealthy people, they lock in on different levels. You're not gonna find them on YouTube, that's for sure. There's a lot more people in the world who are really rich and very private. Very, very private. So I think like this is profit taking for towards the end of the year. And because also you see a lot more people talking about gold, and it's just a tale as old as time. As soon as people start talking about something, it's already dumping. So people are looking to buy gold. Imagine this. People last week were getting tabloids, people lining up to buy physical gold. And look at what's happening on gold right now. Guys are lining up probably even right now to buy physical gold. They're treating this like a Bitcoin type of thing. And you see it's coming straight down. So the bot probably all the way up over here, and price coming down. Because these people are not locked in. These people are just people who are just like throughout the whole year, they don't lock in. They just kind of want it. They kind of know about investing. They kind of want it. So what happens is they always get in late because they heard from a friend who heard from a friend who heard from a friend, and it becomes a trend. So, these are the people you're competing with. This is why 95% of people fail in this industry, because most people are in that zone. They're in that zone of always a kind of waiting, not executing on their ideas. But the next best time to learn is right now. Like literally, if you start learning right now, next year, you're going to be able to take advantage of all these types of opportunities. You're going to be able to see it sooner. And that's a beautiful thing about market cycles, is every year is like a reset, you know? It's a reset. We all get put on a level 1. When the year starts, we all get put on level 1, and everybody is a bit cautious. We're all just waiting to see what's going to happen for the year. And this is from experience from trading for 6 years now and understanding the psychology of people around markets and how the years actually feel and how the years actually go. So it's like in the beginning, it's all like level 1, we're filling out the market. And then after the first quarter, after Q1, you know, depending on what's happening, if there's any kind of movement, we start getting more of direction for potentially for the year. But that solely relies on the macro events. What do we have macro wise? Driving price. Then we start get better hints as the years open up, but it's all kind of like warming up, you know, warming up. But you want to be locked in at least in the first 2 quarters. And then it kind of warms up, and you know, then we're off to the races. So right now what you're seeing is, let me explain to you right now what you're seeing. It's basically because I love relating this thing to gaming a lot. It's basically this. You know, like how sometimes when you come into a lobby, a gaming lobby, and you're like, damn, niggas have like 30 kills already. Guys have 40 kills. I just joined this game, maybe all the way down over here. You just joined the game right over here and you're like, damn, this game's already been going. So that's kind of how it is like towards the end of the year. So the game's been going. The people at the top most likely are going to remain at the top because they've built that momentum throughout the whole game. So there's no way that you can catch up. So that's how it kind of looked like every year. So every year, fully locked in. At the start of the year, you fully lock in. So you can stay at least on the top of that a leaderboard. Man, look at this thing. Holy! Why are you running, Goldie?
Why are you running?
Anybody still holding this? Down like 154 pips now. I told you guys, stop playing with the market. You also think this thing can reverse and then pull up? It can push down way more than you think. That's a lesson that I learned the hard way in my journey. Man, I learned that the hard way. I always used to try and buy the dips, buy the highs, sell the lows. Sell the highs, buy the lows. Some explorers. Said I wasn't here. Now more waiting. Oh, now you gotta wait. Now you got to wait, but it's not over. You could get another setup. All you gotta do is wait. I still hold posted on your Discord. Let's see. Update how it's currently going. Oh, nice. I see you got the super secret indicator over here. Trades taken today. Currently in the sell. Oh, nice. Little breakout, little accumulation right there. Off the 5 minute, I can see little breaky from here. Boom. Boom. Entries, break and retest. It retested that entry. This entry model over here. It came to retest it and then continue moving down. Nice. Risky trade. Liquidity grab, seller exhaustion. Nice. Also got the super secret indicator over here. Very good. What's that? Execute. It would be nice to know what you're trying to look or where. You see, that's all in the WAP database. These are just like consolidation breakouts. That's all that I'm looking for. Consolidation breakouts. That's why we got the channels. You know, there's those channels on Discord. You can send in charts. I can get back to you. You can, you know, the thing is, if you don't like send in a chart, if you don't send in any analysis, how are you gonna learn? You know, how are you gonna learn? Yeah, you gotta send in a chart every once in a while, at least, into that exclusive channel under the TFX mentorship category. Then I can look at your chart. You know, you're gonna label your chart, and then that's how you learn. Fly, Goldie, fly. Melt, Goldie. Ah, man, I can't believe we're below 4,000 level again. Gold reclaims... Let's see over here. Gold reclaims 4,000 level on softer US dollar rate cut prospects. Gold prices regained some lost ground on Tuesday, rising above 4,000. Really? Per ounce as a weaker dollar? When was this posted? 5 hours ago. Oh. Damn. 5 hours ago. Buyers who were waiting on the sidelines for gold now are being tempted into taking positions. Holy, where are my whips? Whips for the buyers. Tempted. Ooh, we just got to bounce off 4,000, guys. Let's get in. Also, we are seeing a bit of softness from the dollar, which is giving gold reprieve. On Sunday, top Chinese and US economic officials hashed out the framework of a trade deal for US President Donald Trump and his Chinese counterpart. Wait, if Trump and Xi have a productive meeting on trade this week, this could leave gold swimming against the current to some degree. But this could offset if the Fed delivers a dovish tone with expected rate cuts this week. That's going to be tomorrow. Melt. Our shorts need exit liquidity, let them buy. That's why that was the last article, like 5 hours ago. No, 6 hours ago now. 6 hours ago. There's been nothing. I don't know why they're not talking about gold dumping right now. Gold rebounds after sharp fall. You see, these are pretty old. I don't know if these analysts, like, obviously these are just regular people, you know. They're regular people showing up to work, writing these blog posts. They're not always on time when it comes to releasing. See, sometimes it takes a while. But it's nice. Sometimes they're really on time. Sometimes the guys are locked in. They actually send them out right after, like, even something like happens in gold. Like if someone wanted to publish something, maybe they wait for gold to like dump, have some movement, and then you'll see at the same time like some kind of news comes out too. It's all psychology because we're not in the same room as everybody else. So it's all like we're just communicating almost telepathically. That's how I like to think about it. Because, you know, it's human psychology at the end of the day, you know. We have certain things that we all do. They're just not looking at the 5 minute. Yeah, but come on, man. Like, what do you mean 5 minute? This thing is down 1.67% on the daily. That's a whole volume. That's a whole volume. I execute on the 1 and 5 minute. It doesn't mean that, oh, I'm trading a 5 or 1 minute necessarily, like really short time frame. Like, look at this move. This is 174 pips taking off a 1 minute entry. So it's like the day has moved. We've got volume already today on the higher time frames for sure. How to use your EMA? Click on the link and it's going to explain to you how to use the EMA, or just stick onto the stream for at least, like, you know, a month. We're gonna talk about the SMAs as we go. Like today we had a beautiful SMA confluence because we're trading below our 50 and our 8 SMA, which is showing us a bearish momentum. So this is looking really good for us because, you know, this SMA tends to get respected quite a bit. So you see how it's still being respected, that 8 SMA, as price is pushing. You could even use it to trail sometimes. So it would help you hold the trade longer than you actually would naturally without using it. You know, you could wait for like the 5 minute SMA to break above the 5 minute SMA, or if you get like a very strong push like this, you could wait until we break above that 8 SMA. I tagged you in a question earlier in questions channel. Do you think I should consider this? It's the last time gold had such a big top wick on the monthly after such a rally. Why don't you execute the 5 and 15 minute? What are you considering here? Should I consider this? Should you consider what? That gold had a big top wick on the monthly. I mean, if you're executing on the 5 minute and the 15 minute, then you know that monthly analysis is not going to help you. Yeah, it's a bit too high of a time frame for this. Liquidity to go down. What do you guys think the price is going down towards? Yesterday we had 4K. Holy. Look at this, man. Anyone still holding this? 186 pips. And also from the signal this morning, it's still running from the earlier trade. Beautiful times, beautiful conditions to do funded challenges for sure. You kind of like waiting for these conditions, you know? You don't want to be doing that like very high risk type of challenges when there's no volume in the market. Like this is perfect. Like you see this volume, you see this direction. This is when you should be going for it. But only if you've proven to yourself that you can first trade. Because when it also starts to get a bit more difficult, you have to be able to survive that too. Oh, nice. Look at this. Realistic position sizing with leverage for long and short tools. I noticed a leverage thing. I just didn't pay attention to it, you know? Well, what is this? With leverage, you can make your trades better, reflect real-time conditions. Feels a lot of admin to add in the leverage every time. Unless you can save it somehow. But yeah, I don't think we need it. Let's put this to 200. What does that change? Oh, nothing. Great, now I can see over leverage on the position tool. I think it's going for 38.90 to 38.88. See the hourly 38.88. Damn. Damn, Daniel. Yeah, we got a range here. It's like 890 pips, but we have 550 pips left. Heading down towards, you know, like maybe 3860 over there. But we're just tapping into 3900 psychological mark. I got 3900. Damn. Look at this. Crazy. How much of this do you think we're gonna give back? Man, sun is coming in. Imagine like all the sellers in the market. You know, there are some institutions which just focus on sells. So there was this article I was watching or reading or something. I saw it somewhere. And this guy was saying that there has not been good business for him this year. But you see now towards the end of the year, you can see how the short sellers are coming in greedy now. At least they can get in the last quarter, get some profitable trades towards the end of the year. That's why I don't play with sellers. Like one thing I don't play with in this market are sellers. Because when sellers come in, they come in real fast. Never play with sellers. Like I would rarely see gold do this, for example, for the buys, even if it looks super bullish on the higher time frame. But when it comes to sells, insane. Just nasty amount of pips that you can catch. Only short. Just an insane amount of pips. The bears. Sells have been nom this past week or so, yes. And they're still in the market until further notice. Like, that's why I said it's like quite important for us to wait until that FOMC event. Because we could be in for some serious crazy ride. Because you could also have the perception that we're just pricing in potential rate cuts for a huge continuation back upwards. So we could be in for a wild ride towards the end of the year over here. So moving down like this. Provided the FOMC numbers come out as having a rate cut and we see gold react accordingly, we could see some crazy type of pullbacks to the upside. But until then, gotta wait. As I said on that video, like until Thursday, we have to wait until Thursday. And Thursday we'll get a better idea if we're gonna be still moving down or moving up. Big buyers exiting. Can think anyone massively selling gold now? Oh, you can't. Okay. You love ATH. I want to see more of it. Yeah, the ATH has been fun. It's been like literally, it felt like almost every day we're getting ATH, 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 ATH. Also kind of difficult because sometimes, to create an ATH requires a lot of like power. You know, when you think about like a system of sorts, it requires a lot of power to create ATH. So at the same time, you know, it hasn't been the most comfortable if you're coming in like London session or a bit later on, but a lot more better during the pre-session times. But you know, it takes less power for something like this to happen, where it's like you're trading in between the ranges and you're having pullbacks. So you feel a little bit more comfortable with those ideas, even if you're planning on becoming a bit more aggressive. It's kind of hard to be aggressive sometimes at the ATH, that's for sure.
Bomboka!
Do I trade UK and NY market times? Yep. Pre-NY. Hey, what's up, Xauusd? Vic, how you doing? Was like a couple of days off work, won 8 in a row, and now back at work and losing again. Hey, maybe the work is making you lose. Glad to see you back, buddy. Yeah, all I can say is, you know, focus on taking less trades and keep having that side income coming in. That income, or that main income from your work. You know, as you still like trying to become a trader, never quit your job. Just keep having that income coming in. Don't let social media rush you, man. Because sometimes you're going to be on social media, you're going to see all these things that I post and like all these things other people post, and it feels like it's rushing your progress, but don't let it rush your progress. So if you guys haven't yet gotten the super secret indicator, it's in the description box below. If you still don't have this thing up over here, then you know you're going to be missing out a lot. You're going to be missing out a lot. You're still going to be questioning things like, oh, are we bullish today? Are we bearish? Should I be taking a trade right now? Or should I, you know, maybe I should be waiting right now. You know, what can I do? Should I wait? Should I buy? you don't have the super secret indicator over here, then, you know, then maybe you're not going to know. These are just tools that I personally don't need, but I think, you know, they're gonna help someone. They're gonna help someone a lot when it comes to building that confidence. Because bias is something that, you know, a lot of us can struggle with a lot in the beginning. Creating a bias. So you can find comfort in knowing that this is basically like the same thing I would be saying. So if you're trading alone and you're asking me for a bias, this would be what I would tell you. I'll tell you, you know, we're either going to be bearish, going to be bullish, or we're going to be waiting. And then even if you don't know the entry criteria, you can still see the bias and say, okay, you know, I think I see a sell over here. Maybe I'm going to feel a bit better about that sell because, you know, this is telling me that we're actually trending now. Hey, Rich Raphael, thank you for the membership. Appreciate it. Just edged my TP and turned around, bro. Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. It's coming down towards, you know, 3,900 here. It should still be moving down bearish. When trading breakouts, does the bias matter? It matters quite a bit, especially on days like this. That was a funny one. Architect, this GIF. What do I show this is? Yeah, bias matters quite a bit because if no matter how good your A+ setup is, no matter, even if the guy who invented the algorithm tells you that there's a fair value gap there from Sunday's open, the market will go through it. I promise you. And this is something, you know, I still remember these days that I learned about magnets. There was a day I learned about magnets, and this was like around, I think it was around like 8 p.m. And then I was listening to a bunch of stuff because, you know, I was constantly looking at the charts, constantly looking at how markets move, at the same time, like listening to content, listening to people speak, etc., etc. And then this one time someone mentioned about these magnets, and at the time I was learning about more institutional type of trading to see how institutions kind of think about the way markets move. And this guy said like whenever there's a zone in the market's attracted to it like a magnet, and there's nothing that's gonna get in the way of it going towards that zone, like literally nothing. And then it's like, okay, you know, then I started thinking about like other events that happened, like the tsunami that happened in Japan, I think in 2011 or something. And it's true, like whenever the market has a zone, it will move almost artificially towards certain levels. And it's not going to stand in its way. Then I started saying, okay, you know, like what's happening here on the pound? Because I used to trade the pound yen quite a lot during that time. And I could see it on the pound too. Like the pound usually also sometimes has this institutional targets where the banks are trying to meet. And then it's like, you're going to see price just keep going towards those quarterly levels. That's why then I started looking at, okay, you know, I think it makes sense to, whenever you start trading a new instrument, you're going to start on the quarterly time frame. You know, on the quarterly time frame. Now when you're just using technical analysis, because you see something like this, for example, right? What do we have over here? Classic TFX entry concept. You got accumulation, you got inverted head and shoulders, you got a little fake out here, you got beautiful clean range. You also got a shotgun entry model with some SMAs in there to fill up this range. And look at this, you know, you do your quarterly analysis and you're like, okay, so you know, this was in 2019 April. If a quarterly candle is closing here with TFX concepts, we already know that this works on the lower and higher time frames, right? Then there's a pretty good chance for the year I'm going to be targeting something like, you know, around 177.4. And this will act like a magnet for the year. So that's going to be kind of, you can think of the yearly institutional mark. Because most of the time we're looking at higher time frames when you're looking at institutions and banks and etc., right? They're mostly on the higher time frames, although they do lower time frame trading as well, 100%. But we're looking at the higher time frames. Then you see, okay, you know, for this year, we're most likely going to keep moving up. Just a simple analysis like that. You don't have to look at your CTO data. You don't have to overcomplicate it with stories. It's really as straightforward as that. But this year has been a bit different because we've been waiting on Powell. You see, that's with technicals. Now the missing part now is the macro fundamentals, is understanding how the news now actually drives that price action. You see, for me, it took a while for me to get into macro fundamentals because I didn't know exactly how to use them and where to look. And that's like what we're seeing more of. Like this year has been more macro driven. It hasn't been a situation like the technical one I explained. This one has been mainly macro driven. And that's why we ranged here so much this year within this range. We range from April up towards August over here until we start getting macro feeds come in, and then we start getting more direction. So this just shows you the power of macro fundamentals. Once you understand those, I think, man, it's a beautiful thing, especially when it lines up with the technicals too on the higher time frames. You can think of it like a Bitcoin, for example. For example, in Bitcoin, if you look at the weekly time frame, you know, there's beautiful ranges over here to get filled. So you're just keeping your eye out on maybe, let's say, a resistance like this, and then trying to line it up with any sort of macro driven news, you know, that could create such a push like this. Because that doesn't happen by accident. I'm pretty sure this week something happened with good Bitcoin news, and they say, okay, you know, something makes sense over here, you know, because sometimes the technicals are a bit ahead of reality too. And if you're trading on the higher time frames, we know that TFX concepts works on the lower and higher time frames already. So you can see this little accumulation and then break out of the highs, and then see if there's anything macro driven, and you're like, damn, okay, so let me get into 32,000 over here. You know, 32,000, pretty good, because you know your barber and your dentist are going to be telling you about Bitcoin only when it's at a 108,000 probably. So you're already ahead of reality. You're already ahead of the curve. You know, you're in line with the matrix. And there's no better skill to learn than actually learning how to trade. Like, literally have no idea. It's the closest thing to understanding the financial matrix of our world and how that works and how gamified it is. You know, and then look at this. Same thing I showed you on the quarterly time frame there on gold. Look what happened over here on the weekly time frame on Bitcoin. That was the start. This right here was the inception, and that's all that TFX concepts is. Like, how are we getting to this point A's? How are we getting to our inceptions of the moves? That's why I'm teaching you here. You know, and most of the time you're gonna get these beautiful reactions, zero drawdown type of trades, and you're gonna see these ranges. Look at this, beautifully filled. The inception is not okay. Maybe you could have argued for something down over here. You can see we also got inverted head and shoulders and a pretty clean break of these highs, but it depends on the news. This looks more direct. This looks like it was the start. It could have been the start even down here, but it depends on what macro events were happening there too. Because it accumulated, it gave a reversal signal. If it broke these lows, it would have come to maybe take out some buyers from here. But you say it gave a reversal signal, but it didn't break the lows. Instead, it broke the highs. And then it all comes down to like putting your trust in the market, knowing that it's not supposed to break certain levels if it doesn't want to go through those zones. You know, like even look at how close. Look at how close it came to breaking. If the market was really out to get you, it could always like push a bit more, take that liquidity and then move up. But it's not always out to get you. So you got to remove that fear out of your head. That's why you're too fixated on smart money concepts. Is because you think someone is out to get you, so you want to be like a smart money concepts guy. Am I lying, chat? That's why I also started learning smart money concepts, because I thought someone was out to get me. So I was like, damn, okay, so let me see if I can trade like them. Because you think something like this would happen to you most of the time, correct? So you'd want to be in that wick. But that does not happen as often, especially if you stick to taking less trades and higher probability trades. That will happen less to you. But of course, the people who are going towards this direction is because they're already overtrading. They're overtrading. They're taking way too many trades. So they're finding it making more sense to trade like this, to always anticipate the worst, because they're already doing like too many trades in a day. So obviously they're going to be in more situations like that happening to them, because that's how the market is. And even then they're not profitable, because the market will win at the end of the day. if you are in it for too long. You gotta be like a bank robber. You know, this morning I robbed, and then I came here on stream, I robbed, in and out quickly. Don't be the big guy. The big guy gets caught. You know, like Al Capone in that movie where his gangster says, you know, you gotta be like the little guy. You know, keep your head down. Don't be the big guy. You don't need all of this. That's how you get caught robbing banks. You know, rob a lot of banks if you know, just in and out. Okay, I lied. Robbing a bank is kind of crazy. But you know what I mean. If you think 95% of volume comes from big market movers, would it make sense for them to worry about us? Yeah, it wouldn't. They don't worry about us. You know what it is? It's just psychology. It's just another version of us, but a guy who's working somewhere. It's just a guy. People who take these trades and move markets, they're just people like us. They're just working somewhere. So it's at the end of the day, it still is the psychology part that can still also get us. So we become like casualties, you know? Sometimes some key levels that break and then we get caught in these reversals. But it's not for the retail traders, that's for sure. But the psychology part of it, it's just human psychology. Because you're kind of trying to take money from somebody else. It's not from a robot. You're taking money from somebody else. Some other kind of like human thinking of what they think that should happen and then what you think that should happen. But in situations like this, yeah, you're definitely going to see more people leaning towards the downside than look for buys. Like even if you look at institutional players with a lot of experience, they would know the type of risk they're taking, especially on the daily when gold is moving down like this. So there will be a bit more risk off, I could imagine. You know, the big hitters usually come in these trends, right? The big hitters. They usually come when the markets are moving crazy, like stock market is moving crazy bullish or something is moving crazy downwards. Those are like the big hitters. And then there's a bit more risk off when, let's say, if you want to be a buyer, you'd have to wait for this thing to bottom out first. And then time that perfectly with Powell and rate decisions. So in the meantime, you know, they could be like just selling as well here. Because we can see it. I don't know why people like, they're always going to see something go down and immediately assume that it needs to go up. Like the market doesn't operate like that. If it picks a direction, it's going in that direction. Hey, thank you for the membership. Ahmed, thank you. Welcome. Okay, down for there. I just caught the knife. Yeah, I just caught the knife. Yeah, right by 3,900. $3,900 psychological. Be the accountant Robin silently rather than money heist. Yup. Man, you know, like my old roommate in university, his dad was part of the major stakeholders of a prominent bank. And he was telling me there was this guy who was like, the bank, it went bankrupt and, you know, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. He needed security cameras around his house. Like things were getting a bit ugly. But there was this guy who was robbing from the bank, like slowly. Until there was a whistleblower. There was a whistleblower and they realized like the bank is actually not doing too well. It was crazy time. Like guys who's still little like that, they're actually gonna have a higher chance to get away with it. So they didn't realize until much later on. And then they showed me like, he showed me a CCTV camera of this guy poisoning himself in the offices. The guy poisoned himself. And then the main stakeholders, which were his dad and some other people, they had to deal with all that downfall. Insane. But it's true, like in trading, you also gotta like, you know, just gotta rob the bank a bit here. Even if you think about it this way, if you start to make huge withdrawals from a broker, the broker is most likely gonna stop paying you out. like massive withdrawals. But you know, you'd have to be like a serious freaking, there's no one who in the retail industry I know who's doing that. You'd have to be literally milking them of billions or 100, yeah, like basically. Because if we look at IC markets, say like IC markets deals with how much? If you look at something like IC markets, for example, I always forget that number. Was it like the trillions? Yeah, so a daily average of IC markets is 1.6 trillion. Oh no, actually that's about that's 54 billion per day. Estimated daily average, April 2024, 54 billion per day. The company in Q2 2025 reported an average monthly trading volume of 1.3 trillion. So you know, you gotta use those regulated brokers who have a lot of liquidity. Please, are we selling already? No. You missed the sell. Go back to bed. Trading futures now for funded. Has there any been like re-entries? Let's see. 1 minute. Oh yeah, there was a re-entry right over here, guys. Anybody catch that? So I told you to Ricardo. Ricardo said, oh man, you know, he missed it as well. But I told Ricardo, man, don't worry. It's just got to set up again. You know, just got to set up again here. Clear throw. You don't know anyone who's doing that yet? Yeah, imagine making billions of dollars of a withdrawal from a broker from just sitting in your house. Do people even do that? Is that even possible? So it's like in the movies. But you know, these people own the brokerages. That's the thing. You won't be trading till a level of billions necessarily like that. These people own the brokerages. It's like FTX. FTX making trades on a boat on his super yacht over there. But they're kind of like owning the brokerages, right? It's a different game. Because why would you be able to make billions and still be like sitting in your house like trading? It also doesn't make sense. You'd most likely become the bank. The end goal for a lot of us is to become the bank when it comes to institutions and just traders in general, because banks have a lot more leeway when it comes to bureaucracy as well. They don't have to deal with certain things that maybe an institution might have to deal with because they're more protected by the government. That's all is the end goal. How can you become a bank? Banks are awesome. You give people the money, you give money to people and you take their money. Banks are basically a Ponzi scheme. They take your money and they give it to somebody else. And then they charge them interest and then make profit off those margins. But that's a Ponzi scheme because not everybody is going to ask for their money all at once. You're never going to have a day where everybody in the bank is going to be like, hey, I want all my money out. You know, then it's not going to work. You can't even do it. Even if you're a billionaire, you can't like put all your money in a bank and then one day just say, hey, I want all my money out. They're not going to give you your money out. A lot of billionaires are cash poor. All they have are like assets. But you're going to have so much money at one point that you're just broke. You're cash poor because you can't really withdraw all your money. The richest person on this world was at some point, what's this guy's name? Joe Low. Is it Joe Low? This guy was the most cash rich person, even if he was not the richest person in the world. Because he scammed it from the... Let me see if I can find him. The dude scammed like the Singapore government. And he funded the Wolf of Wall Street movie. Also, the president at that time was ridiculed for hundreds of millions of dollars that he also got from that scam. It was basically like billions of dollars were supposed to go to infrastructure, building roads, hospitals, schools, etc. But the guy just pocketed it. But he was the richest, like he had buying power. He had the most buying power than anybody else on the planet. This is the guy right here. I'm trying to find his name though. Yeah, Joe Low. I was right. Joe Low. I spelled it wrong. He's still on the run apparently. He's not been arrested yet. They assume he's living somewhere in China right now under an Australian passport. Allegedly stole over 4.5 billion. I thought it was more than that. 4.5 billion from state owned. I know he gave the president around maybe like 600 million, maybe more. State owned. It's quite an interesting guy over here. Oh, Malaysia. Not Singapore. Jolo. Oh my days. We're breaking below 3,900 now. Yeah, there goes 3,900. Where's the next psychological mark? Ricardo said 38. 38.88. How low can you go? This candlestick is hourly candle has just done 400 pips. Insane. This is just nasty. This is so nasty. Imagine you gotta look back at this day and you're gonna be like, damn, all I had to do was take a sell today and I could have passed a challenge or something. Heck, even flipped an account. All you had to do was be on the right side of the market. But I see markets and 99% of CFD traders. You go against brokers, not the market, so the trade goes in the B wallet. It's the exit from consolidation in that 38.90 to 38.88. U broker, A book, B book, no dealing desk. I would say, just in any case, don't worry so much about the brokers. Just, keep making your withdrawals. Keep doing your thing. You can't also be so paranoid all the time. There are definitely things going against us as retail traders, but hey, they give you leverage at the end of the day. At least you can get involved. Like today was rubbish, man. I could have made 4% on my first trade, but there was a small delay, and brokerages usually have softwares where they operate in milliseconds. So if I close a trade, the software can operate in a millisecond to make sure that it closes it when the profit pulls back, but it's going to be done in such a short time span window that you're not going to realize. So I realize the broker screws me as well. Like IC Markets definitely screws me. Like all brokers are like that, but they give you the ability to at least get involved in the market. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. I'm still up like 30% on the month and pretty good for the year as well. So there's not much of a difference, but it is something we can't be ignorant about. It does happen and you're not going to complain to anybody. So just find a good broker who's at least decent and that you can find, you can have some kind of a trading condition with. And that's why I don't use hard stops, right? Because hard stops are the ones which usually they can get triggered, and you're gonna look, price maybe didn't go over there. So that's why I don't use hard stops. It's all about like, how can you make the edge more in your favor when it comes to trading? What are all these things that you can do over the years? You realize that it can give you a bit more of an edge. And trust me, like using hard stop, you're going to use a hard stop only if your short price is pushed and you want to be definitely at a break even. Otherwise, there's a lot of room for manipulation because the price points are also different. Sometimes price is going to come like this, but on your broker, it's already broken. But at the same time, not every day is the same like that. Sometimes price will break, but on your broker, it's still up here. So it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes it works in your favor, and then sometimes it doesn't. And I think it's also a technical thing that we can't get everything so precise. These are like estimations of price points too. So we can't be penny pinchers. When it comes to trading, you can't be a penny pincher. That's one thing I used to do a lot of. Like if I had like $100, I didn't want to risk even $1 more than $100. You know, everything needed to be penny pinched to the T, but you can't penny pinch in trading. So then, you know, then that's when I stopped also slowly becoming perfect. Because we all start like that, penny pinching and then wanting to be perfect. Perfect entries, perfect exits. But it doesn't matter here. Look, I didn't get the perfect entry. I didn't get the perfect exit. Did I make money? Yes. That's all that counts. Doesn't matter if I got it from the top. Doesn't matter if I got it from the middle. Doesn't matter if I exit in the middle. Because you can't be right. Being right is going to cost you a lot more money than just making the money. Yeah, I took a profit now. Secured 555 pips. And look at this thing. Did I 1 to 3 out of drawdown and thinking about, do I even want to fire my other 2 bullets today? Yeah, I mean, this is already down 2%. 2.12%. Do you think we're going to have another? Because there's still a bit of room there for the daily to keep moving down. But my question is, do you think today could be another Tuesday that we had here? This did like about 2,969 pips. So in principle, we could even see 35. We could see 37.25 in principle. But that would be crazy. Imagine 37.25 and thinking we've still bottomed out here at 2%. That would be insane. Look at this. We got some fundamentals. Look at that. Gold falls as trade optimism erodes demand. Gold price has fallen in early trading, holding below the $4,000 mark as optimism of a Trump-Xi meeting later this week dented demand for safe haven assets. And my C trader looks crazy right now. The way the candles are just coming down. Later this week, dented demand for safe haven assets at futures in New York tumbled 2.5% a troy ounce, while spot gold is down 3.2% to $39.81 an ounce. Signs of a US, I don't know, like 3.2%. I think they got that wrong. I think that was a typo over here. 2.2%. Signs of a US-China trade deal were enough to trigger profit taking after the 26% rise achieved since the start of September. Gold is likely to remain under pressure until the fast money that recently joined the market is washed out. Still, the precious metal remained up more than 50% this year. Yeah, we're going to be seeing 40% now. We came all the way from like, I think 66% down to 55. Now it's 50. And it happened so quick. Supported by expectations of further US interest rate cuts later this week. Let's see. Maybe that's the only thing that can bounce gold back, honestly. But even then, I'm a bit skeptical. After we get the US rate cuts, that a gold might actually just keep tumbling. The monthly's about to flip. Holy. Y'all think the monthly could flip? That's crazy. What's silver doing though? Remember we spoke about silver? Silver was at those highs where on the quarterly we were having pullbacks, like crazy pullbacks. Look at this. Look at this, man. That's what I was saying. Like, look at silver. It looks at his buddies over here. Look, you see? Silver's looking at his buddies over here off the quarterly. And every time we create these quarterly highs, boom, start to get reactions. Look at this. Silver's monthly has flipped. Quarterly has flipped over here. Here are the all-time highs. You know, simple. You look back in history, that's going to give you a good analysis of what can happen again in the future. You know, that's why when you got a system and you got a strategy, that's kind of what it is you're backtesting. You see in history and then what can happen in the future. That's why backtesting is so important. You know, that's why we have those simulations. We're going to run a simulation this weekend, again, for the mentorship. We'll do another simulation. Super important. Haven't seen a crash like this big ever before. It's crazy. And the amount of FOMO you feel, don't even feel FOMO about this, chat. Because like, literally, when I started trading, I told you it was during COVID. And there were so many big moves that happened during COVID, but I couldn't catch them, obviously. But don't feel FOMO about this. Like, trust me, the market's going to be like this forever. You're always going to have cycles like this where when you do start becoming consistent, profitable, and more aggressive with your entries, if you want to hold them for a lot longer, these opportunities are coming around like every year. Next year, we're going to have the same exact thing happen again. You know, so it's all about like planning. So you kind of think about it. You got to say, okay, you know, this year I noticed gold used to do this a lot, used to trend a lot. You know, okay, so this year I'm going to kind of focus a little bit more on that, on those times or these types of days where price is moving, and you know, maybe I'm going to put a bit more effort in and actually study the macro fundamentals and actually try, and you know, maybe then I can become profitable. You know, maybe then I can get a really big move. I can catch a really big move. But all it needs is just a little bit of elbow grease. That's all it needs. And trust me, it's not as hard. Like once you get everything all set up for yourself, it's not as hard anymore. You just have to repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. The hardest part is putting in that foundational work. That's why I made that video that I did yesterday, where I was just speaking. I was trying to explain to you, most traders, when they start trading, we start simple, we make it complex, and then we go back to simple. You know, the hardest part of that journey as a trader, the beginning is the easiest part. Some people get beginner's luck, the flip accounts, pass challenges. The hardest part is in the middle, right? Because this is where we overcomplicate things. That's where we get really messed up, you know? And then it's usually you're going to start breaking out of that again to just simplicity. You know, this is how we start. And then we say, okay, I want to learn more. Because I think if I learn more, I'm going to earn more, right? And then this is where we are. This is where we are for some time, frustrated, trying to figure it out, but there's nothing to figure out. And then slowly as you start to humble, as you start to come back to your senses again, you're going to start taking it easy again. And then removing all the complexities which did not aid you, and then keeping just the core principles intact. You know, we spoke about price action, we spoke about time, and why does the market behave the way it behaves when a certain structure is made. You know, so you're not trying to figure it out. You're just trying to focus on those few principles, macro news, and then it becomes easier. Because man, this right here, this is gonna make you go crazy. Right here in the middle, when you start looking at CTO data, you start asking those complicated questions that you don't even gonna know the answers to. You gotta start pulling your hairs out. Like for me, it's so simple: accumulation breakouts. That's it. Accumulation, breakout, accumulation, breakout. Vic, did you post a notice on advanced info on the time of simulation? Yeah, I usually let you know on the Telegram group before I go live. I missed being on live last time. Yeah, it's usually on Telegram. And then it's recorded, and then it's no, the link is posted on the notification is posted on Telegram, and then we're going to do it on Discord, and then it's later then uploaded onto WAP under simulations. Do you get the notifications? Do you have the WAP app? Like when I upload something, do you get notified? I just usually upload there, but I don't know if it sends notifications. No notifications for that. Oh. Yeah, I usually like upload there. Do. Yeah, silver's coming down here. Monthly's just reflipped, so now we're waiting on the monthly flip on gold. If that's gonna happen, that would be insane. Look at the size of this wick over here. Insane. Look at this. 4,794 pips. Crazy. We got all this clean range on the weekly time frame to mop up. Beautiful accumulation break from this region over here. That was the inception though. That was when Powell was speaking. Boom, boom, profit taking. Now coming down. Down. Man, imagine if you still held this trade. That would be a clean 427 pips with zero drawdown. Basically no drawdown. Crazy. All you had to do was hold. In hindsight, it looks so easy. But when you're actually in the mix, it feels so much harder. Cause you know you're just gonna be here like this, and you're gonna say to yourself things like, "Oh, you know, we could reject this area over here, because we got some rejection wicks." Or you can easily talk. One thing that we're really good at is talking ourselves out of trades as retail traders, especially in the beginning. We're really good at that, aren't we, guys? Like, we're gonna draw things like over here, and we're gonna find reasons as to why price should reject certain levels. We're so good at talking ourselves out of trades. Oh, it was all the way up here. So good. But I think it's like when you see it happen over and over again, you kind of build confidence more to hold. Even me having seen this happen over and over again to this extent, and I think this is quite important to even tell you guys, because I've been trading this system for like five years, right? And even then, after seeing all this data over here of how price actually pushes, I still find it difficult to hold my trades past like 4%. I don't know what it is. I still find it difficult to hold my trades past 4%. But I think it's good because it means you're not greedy. It means you're not greedy. But it's good to know that price can keep going in that direction based off of the way you trade. But it's also good to not be greedy because of times like this, maybe, you know, times that it doesn't work out. But it's still freaking hard, like holding, just to hold constantly. You know, I think it's like you're going to have the psychology for it or you're just not. I don't think I ever had the psychology for holding. You know, I never had the psychology for holding. Man, you gotta have like really strong psychology to see 2% come back down and then go to 3% and then come back down. Yeah, I never had that. So that's why for me, it was like I traded the 5 minute, the 1 minute. Those were the time frames to trade. Oh, look at this. Ricardo go to right to the T over here. 38.88. I need to start using my knife catching points of view to hold trades, not catch it. I have much easier them do what I do sometimes because it's hard to hold. Yeah, look at this. If you took a buy over here. Holding means you will have more losses and more BE. Yep. I think holding is good for like, you know, once in a while. So once in a while, you're just going to hold a trade, you know, but you're not going to do it every day. Because if you want to see more wins and you want to secure something, get paid for the day, you'd rather, you know, close your trade out. And then every now and then, you know, you can hold a trade. Like this month, I think I held once this month. Yeah, I only held a trade once this month for like a 3.96% over here. This was last week on Tuesday. 3.96%. Maybe this one here, 2.60%. But mostly if I'm holding, yeah, it's between 2.50 and 3%. So maybe you can say 2 times this month I held. And last month I got 3.49%. This is one hold. So you see, like I do it, but like every now and then I don't always do it. So that's one hold. Last month I did 3 holds. 3. Yeah, just about 3 holds last month. I think the month before, usually maybe like 2 or 3 again. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 times in August. But that's out of like 30 trades. You know, 4 times holding out of 30 trades. It's not a lot. And then you got other ones that I hold and maybe don't play out. You know? Or get stopped out. Like the trail gets stopped out. So I think holding, man, you gotta really choose. Pick and choose. If the data is accurate, you're one of the best traders in the world. Hey, I think anyone who's ending trading profitable, it doesn't matter how profitable, you're in my book, you're one of the best traders. As long as you're a profitable trader, you're one of the best traders in the world. You know, trading is one of those things where it's either you're actually profitable or you're not. It's a, you know, the thing is, it's just the difference is the amount of capital you make. You know, like hedge funds and institutions, maybe they do like, you know, 10% a year and stuff like that, but they're obviously dealing with a lot more money. So it's definitely more layered than just saying, oh, this guy has more profitable trades. I think the way we trade at this level is so different from the way they trade at their level. So I would not be able to trade the way I trade at their level. I don't think you could hire me to work at JP Morgan, for example, and still trade the way that I trade. I don't think it's going to be possible. There's got to be a lot more things to consider. Because come on, man, like if I put a position on and let's say I push the market like 16 pips, can I really trade the way I trade? You know, it's going to look kind of different. So our ability, our strong suit is the fact that we don't move the market. That's the most beautiful thing about being a retail trader. My breakouts would be basically paying me once I'm in profit, maybe 30 pips or something. I don't know. I have no idea. I assume it would be like that. Because I've seen the way these breakouts sometimes happen and it doesn't give you a lot of room. If there's a finite amount of orders that can be placed here, it doesn't give you a lot of room to put something big. Because if you put something big, you create a big candle. I wish we can focus on the chart, please. Are we reversing? Let's remove this. Yeah, it was a nice pullback from 38.88, but I don't see any setups right now. We might need to get beyond like that 5-minute resistance first. There's a 5-minute resistance right here. Because at least when we get through that resistance, we can start creating new higher highs. But it's really small. This would be a much better one here by 39.16. You can break above 39.16 if you're still looking for buys. Then this would be the safest one right here. Because this range is a bit more dangerous, since it's not such a big range. Then now it looks a little bit more safe. Over here, you got a lot more room for price to move up. So I'll wait for something like this. Wait for price, boom, boom, boom. Respect this level and then move up. I'll just wait for a sell. Just wait for a sell continuation. Maybe it's gonna set something up right over here, and then you could get the pull down, because this is a nice pull up. So now you're waiting for it to pull back down. How long does that mean? Range to range. Vic, hold long does that mean? Range to range. From range to range, we talk about from where like this resistance to this resistance. So that's what we call a range. You know, you can call a range like this, like, you know, you got a 87 pip range here. It's much bigger range than what you have down over here. It's about like 51 pips, right? You can call a range like that. Or also sometimes we call, when price is moving sideways like this, we can also call this a range. I mean, hold for longer. Oh, when you're planning on, what do you mean? Like when you're planning on holding for longer, what to do? Yeah, well, if you want to hold for longer, it does help to have a clean range like this. So if you take like a buy, let's say here, say you take a buy like this, it can help you hold longer, because now you know price needs to fill this range. So instead of securing here, you know theoretically that your trade can move up towards like 39.35 instead of securing in the middle, because this is all the space that it has to move here. And then other times you got days like this where it's just, you know, there's volume in the market. So even without that range, there's still a pretty good chance that you get your running trade run. See, like for a sell over here, we didn't have range for that sell. In the 5-minute, we also didn't have range. But what you're kind of betting on is the fact that price can just keep moving in that direction off, you know, daily bias. Don't sell, just go long, guys. Nope. I know you feel like you missed the move, but trying to go wrong and trying to be right is not the play. I also say the sell's a lot more safe than if you try and go long right now. You're just gonna get yourself a whip. Unnecessary. Because you know the worst part is like when you take a trade and you take a buy position and it fails on you, you're gonna feel like a dumbass. You know, because then you're gonna know why you lost that trade. It's gonna be very obvious why you lost that trade. But if you take a sell and it doesn't play out, you know, you can say at least you gave yourself a chance because you're trying to go with the flow of orders. So you know what happens is you're gonna take that buy, then you're gonna say, oh, okay, that doesn't count. Let me try now a sell. Or you're gonna do something along those lines. You're gonna say, oh, that's that was not the dip. Let me try again. Or maybe you're gonna try again another dip. And you're gonna get like 2 losses and you're gonna say, oh damn. You know, maybe I should have just stuck with the sells. And why even put yourself in that position to start? Why not just take the damn sell and see if it plays out? It's way too early to take buys right now. You know, we have this bad habit of giving ourselves paper cuts. You're going to paper cut yourself so many times before you actually start trading. But you've already started the day with bad habits. You know, you're doing things you know you shouldn't be doing. So you get paper cuts. And the time that you actually want to be serious is when you have to be making back the profits from your paper cuts. Because, you know, a situation where you come onto the chart for the first time, you might be disciplined for the first, let's say 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour. And then you lose your discipline, and then you get a paper cut. Then you say, okay, damn, let me stay focused again. That's typically what happens. Now you have to make that back. Instead of just like not caring, you know, don't care. Show up to the chart, don't care. Whatever. I get a trade, I don't get a trade, whatever. If the market shows something to me that looks interesting, I'll take it. If it doesn't, then I won't take it. Simple. You don't care. You know, whatever. Those are your best deals. Imagine like when you go on holiday and people are trying to sell you shit, and they're trying to 5x whatever it is, they're trying to sell you some crap. And you tell the guy, you know, I don't really care. If you don't want to sell it to me for, let's say he's saying it costs you like $50, and you tell him that you want it for $10, and then you tell the guy, nah, I'm willing to pay $10. Then he says, oh, I can't do it. Then you say, whatever, you walk away. He's going to call you back. He's going to say, sir, come back. And you say, hey, I got you. Just don't care. The market is literally the same. Just don't care. But if you want it bad enough, you will pay the higher price. They will get you. But you have to first know what the price is. You know, if you know what the price is, and you know how to negotiate properly, then you know it's a good deal or a bad deal. You know, so if you know that rushing a trade is a bad deal, why do it? Do you really need it? There's another guy down the street, just like this guy, who's trying to sell you that for $50. You know, if you just keep walking down the street, there's another guy selling the same crap for possibly giving it to you for less than that. You know, maybe he's less stubborn. He's less stubborn. That's how the market is. You know, some trades can be a little bit more stubborn, and then other trades can be less stubborn. So you'd rather just wait and not care and just keep it moving. Yeah, this is setting up beautifully though. If it breaks below a 38.98, maybe after that pullback for continuation down to 38.88. Don't do nothing, just read what the market is showing even to buy. You need structure, nice consolidation. Like you say, seller is still in control. Buyers are being absorbed. Volume moving up. A price moving down in consolidation. Oh, this is an indicator. I was wondering where the wicks are. Divergence. Yeah, sellers are still in control. That's why I think if it actually breaks those lows, we might see another dump. Volume moving up, price moving down. Yep. Sellers definitely still in control. Third trade. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I like where I am for the day, you know? I think I'm just gonna sit here a bit longer. I don't want to risk giving anything back. I like where I am. I can end the day here today, and you know, I can go to bed and still be a champion. Or I could take another trade and then, you know, risk all of that. And then wake up tomorrow and say, damn, I shouldn't have taken that trade. Why not end the day as a champion? Why would you take one trade and risk another trade to end the day at a break even? Why not just end the day as a champion? And you're going to do that like consistently every day. You're going to have a better chance at doing that every day if you take less trades. That you can have more days that you can end profitable than if you overtrade. Because I know some of you guys, you're going to take your own trades. You're going to come onto the stream, try take this trade, and then you're going to go to another stream, try take his trade, and then another stream. But you can't mix TFX concepts with other trades as well, because those are different hit rates. Those are different, they perform a bit different. We all have different approaches to the market. So I don't know, maybe it works for some people. Just copying. But man, just learn how to trade yourself. There's no better feeling than knowing how to trade yourself. Yeah, this thing's gearing up. It's setting up for another beautiful run somewhere. So we've already identified the point A. Now we got to see how it distributes. Definitely a lot more safer for the sells. I think if anything breaks above these highs, that most likely going to be a fake out. And then price will continue moving down. You have a VIP group where you teach your trading strategy? Yeah, but it's a super secret group. Only the elite level members can join this group. Only if you can find how to join the group, then, you know, then you can join the group. But if you can't even find how to join the group or where the group is, then you just don't have enough due diligence in you to even become a trader. Because, you know, the thing about trading is you have to be able to do a lot of due diligence. You know, you can't be always like asking, right? It's right there. Like literally, like all these institutions and stuff, they all have the access to the information. They all have the same access to information. The only difference between company A and company B is company B maybe knows how to do the due diligence a bit better. But the information is right there, like literally right under your nose. Like, I'm not saying this to be mean or anything, but you know, sometimes, man, it just blows my mind how sometimes things can be right under people's noses. And it's not an age thing. It's not like, oh, I'm too old, I don't know how technology works or this and that. No, that's a youth thing. That's a youth thing that you don't want to learn those things. You know, a lot of people use age as an excuse. Oh, you know, I'm old, I don't want to do it, I don't know how this works, it's too complicated. That's bullshit. You know, you're either gonna learn or want to learn, or you don't want to learn. Learning never stops. If you're 30, 60, 80, at least that's what I believe. Learning never stops. My oldest student was, I think he was 80. I think he was in his 80s, which was amazing. Like, this guy used to motivate me. Like, we had our sessions, and he lived in I think he lived in Texas. Yeah, I lived in Texas, and you know, he used to tell me stories, and he tells me like, man, even at that age he's always learning. And you know, his daughter is always telling him like, why are you going for these seminars and these events? But he said like his daughter doesn't really support him doing that a lot because she thinks like he's getting scammed, etc., etc. But he says like even at that age, he still wants to learn. So he was telling me about these real estate seminars he used to go to. He does like a lot of these trading seminars as well. And he always used to be like, you know, I want to learn from the young people. Like if I want to learn, it's going to be like from the young people because I really see that they're doing it out here. You know what I mean? But it's like inspirational to see someone even at that age still go to seminars to still always learn. You know, it's still an important thing in life. He still had a system. I really don't think that I changed this guy's mind to see the markets the way that I trade, but I could see he was just doing it for knowledge. Like he didn't give a shit about the money. He didn't give a shit about anything else. He had his own system, but he just kind of wanted to see like, who am I? And that's when I was doing one-on-one classes at that time. and he just kind of wanted to see what the system was. And this guy was always just chasing knowledge. And those are the types of people who really make it fun. He didn't even need the money from trading. He was already sorted, right? He was just trying to like learn new skills. So that's the kind of mindset I'm talking about. And this thing is trying to break here. Got a one closure below support, next candlestick, but it still hasn't broken the lows by 38.98. It still needs to break these lows. But it would be nice if it just broke clean, because now you got one candle closed, another candle's closed, kind of showing like a little bit of less volume. See, it's more of like a wick fill and then small reversal over here. It would have been much nicer if the candlestick had actually pushed down like this. A candlestick just ripped down all at once. It's setting up again. Maybe it goes back up for a little try again. Like one more try like this. Boom. And then come back down again. You get a bomber clot. If trading different setups, you expose yourself to get in a cluster of losses in all strategies you use. That is the main problem with ICT 100 models that can each be in losing streak. Yeah, exactly. This too. ICT is you know what they say about engineering, right? Complexity is a form of ignorance. It does not make anything any more appetizing, but people like it in trading because they think they're learning a lot. But it's actually a form of ignorance. Imagine if ICT was a phone, right? Imagine the type of phone ICT would be if it was a phone. He would be selling you a Macintosh from the 60s, where you need to put on that DVD, and then you're going to have a manual, and then you're going to have cables going into here, and you're going to be asking yourself, how do I connect this Macintosh to the printer? You're going to be going through the manual. That's what ICT is if it was a phone. It's way too complicated. You know, you want your I'm sorry, a computer. That's what it would be if it was a computer. But that's the thing. That's why Mac is not like that anymore. Nowadays, what do you get? You open up your MacBook, boom, it says hello. And then it just puts in your name, you know, you just like type in your name and you're already in. Simple. You're in. Everything's there, everything's smooth. That's what it's supposed to be like. You know? You know, also with the dating apps, like how dating apps progressed. In the beginning, it used to be questionnaires. Like, who are you? What do you do for work? What is this? What is that? What is that? It's like a job interview before you get in. Nowadays, you download the app, boom, boom, simple things, you're in. So you get to choose. You literally get to choose what you want in trading. That's the beautiful thing. You can go the complex route and be profitable, or you can go the simple route and be profitable. Because these two devices, they still are able to do the same thing. One device, just they operate a bit differently, but they still do the same thing at the end of the day, correct? They'll still get you to point A to point B. Not even learning a lot, but a feeling of being in control. Are you hyped for Battlefield 6? Oh, Battle Royale? Yeah, I think so. I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on the new maps as well that are coming out there. I finally got my gun to like a full upgrades. I'm waiting for Battle Royale, but you know, it's kind of on slippery grounds, Battlefield, because once they start doing Battle Royale, hopefully it's not going to be like a Fortnite. Then we're going to start getting Fortnite skins and kind of taking away the authenticity of warfare. I hope they don't go down that route, but there's a few skins that they removed recently, which is looking like they're on shaky grounds there. Because it's so hard, you know, it's so hard for a company not to do that when it knows it can make money from people if they put like some weird skins in the game. Because now they have to choose between just keeping it authentic or just milking the market. That's why you see a lot of movies nowadays are complete garbage, because they're more catering to this whole like ideologies and movements, because those sell, those make a lot of money. People are gonna buy that. So you think like movies, they're losing authenticity as well nowadays. They come in like complete garbage. Same with video games. So it's a slippery slope with these guys. Because if they keep it authentic, they don't make money as much as they could. This setup here is, it's still consolidating quite nicely, especially if it pulls up a bit more and then re-breaks these lows. Because remember, you still had the pullback and you're still in line with the daily bias, which is bearish. Oh, look at this. Volume's coming in. Yeah, I guys think this is going to be a fake out because this is a point A right here. This is a point A. It could actually skyrocket though. You could see this wick get broken and it flies upwards, but it's definitely scary going against a daily bias. Because if it pulls down, you're going to immediately know that that was a fake out. If you get something of the sort happen like this, and then this, oof. Then it's going to come down and then re-break these lows and then maybe continue moving down. Then you're going to be like, damn, should have stick to the bias. And then at the same time, you can have something like this happen where it's going to break and then just shoot up. And then you're going to be like, damn, I should have taken that buy. So, you know, you have to preempt these two outcomes. So when either one of them happens, you don't feel like you missed out on the move, but you made your decision already. So you're not going to feel FOMO if it goes without you. So accept it right now. This is a perfect moment for us to work on our control. You must accept it right now that this buy here is going to be a risky buy. If you think it's a risky buy, because risk is discretionary. No two traders are the same. For me, this would be risky. For you, maybe not. Right? But it's breaking the highs right now. For me, I've accepted I've missed it. It's gone. It's gone. You know, because for me, that was too risky. But I know this is an area that it can distribute. That it can fly out if it wanted to. They say it's already 20 pips. I would be a break even already by this point. Expecting it to just skyrocket up. It pushed up already, so now that would be like a risk-free trade. It pushed about 30 pips from that wick. There's a clean 30 pips. Even with a 16 pip stop loss, very tight, zero drawdown, straight to profit. Then, yep, coming down, break even. But you see, that's the idea. This is the point A where the move is about to gear up from. You're going to see it from here. If it distributes, you're going to trace it back to here. It's pretty quick. Like, waiting is a lot in trading. It's like 90% is just waiting. And then this is a small bit of it, right? Just like 10%. Quick little 30 pips over here. Quick little 10%. 1 minute candle. Just 1 minute candle. GPU's partner of NVIDIA. $15 is kissing the SMA. Oh, nice. Yeah, we got 15 just like close here, but kind of giving it a hard time. Good looking. See, that 5 minute range is not the cleanest, but it's a volume-based play, so it should be able to get through these levels if it's supposed to move up, just purely based off volume. But you want to see price break above 39.15. This would be the true range over here towards like 39.35. Still that kind of red zone area on the 5 minute at least. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it comes back or distributes back up. Breaking the lows. Oh, yeah, it's coming back down. Daily sellers are in the market. That was a nice little scalp, wasn't it? It's just like the sellers are in here very strong, you know? So they'll most likely be looking for opportunities like this. Because it's easier to scare people out. Because this would be the inception. This would be like if you're trying to catch a buy, a real structural buy, this would be the inception right now. You know, so it's easier for, like, if there was going to be any pullbacks, it's easier for the market to kind of shake people out who maybe is not as confident in their buy positions by pulling back down like this. It's all psychology games. It's the only thing about trading is once you have a system that you can identify, the next thing is working on yourself, is working on that psychology, because you got your system. It says, okay, this is a buy, maybe this is a sell, etc., etc. Then you got your psychology. This is the psychology part. Are you confident with your buys? How are you taking your buys? Do you think it's worth a loss? Good trades which play out usually mean there's a lot more market participants who think it's worth a loss. That if they're going to take a buy, they could hold through the drawdown because it's worth a loss. So is it worth a loss? What do you guys think? Write in the chat. Is a buy here worth a loss? Let's say your stop loss is down over here. Is it worth a loss? Because, you know, price can still come down like this and then a reverse. And then reverse. I've had trades happen like this several times. It comes super close to hitting my stop loss. Clean reversal. Straight to TPs. Because, you know, when I took that trade, I said it was worth a loss. I mean, I don't care, guys. Like, I don't care. I'm asking you guys. I'm good. But, like, you know, if y'all don't want to, like, even answer, like, simple questions, that's fine. We'll just wait for a buy and a sell order then. Simple. Makes no difference to me. I'm just here to, like, shed some light, some inspiration, maybe some, you know, food for thoughts. For me, I don't think it's worth the loss. I wouldn't take that loss. I wouldn't take that loss. I would say, like, for sure, if this was, the tables were flipped like this, then if I was looking for a buy, oh, but that would have, like, it would not have given me my entry yet. If I was looking for a buy, then I would be worth, I mean, if I was looking for a sell, sorry, I flipped it. If I was looking for a sell, then I would be worth allowing that to pull back. If anything, you know, if, like, I really believe, like, price was going to go down, usually with my 16 pip stop losses, I will take the full loss. Like, whenever I use a 16 pip stop loss and it hasn't hit my take profits, it's either a win or a loss. If it doesn't hit TP2, then I take the loss. Sometimes my trades go like this. They hit TP1, they don't hit TP2, they come into drawdown, I still hold the drawdown. You know, and then it sometimes goes and hits TP2. So in those situations, I would accept the loss. It's just we are against the daily bias and the 15-minute SMA is pushing it down. Yeah, I mean, well, you see, if somebody was to say something, it would have been nice, because if this thing played out and somebody said, yeah, I accept the loss, then I'll be like, yeah, awesome. Because, you know, that's how risk operates. Risk is discretionary. So maybe for you, there's something you're seeing there that for you a buy would be worth a loss. But the problem is, it's only when it starts to move up, you'll see someone in the chat say, I'm up 60 pips or I'm up 80 pips. You know, it doesn't work like that. I would not buy against this kind of bearish trend, but if I place the trade, then yes, it's worth hitting the SL. You have to be willing to live with the SL. Thank you, John. See, it's a lack of confidence. Like, it's much easier for people to speak when price actually moves. But, like, before it moves, nobody wants to take accountability. They don't want to say or be wrong. They're afraid of being wrong to say that it's a buy and then have that becoming a loss. And it's fear of ridicule, but you're not going to get ridiculed. If you think it's a buy, it's a buy. Just say it's a buy, you know, it plays out beautiful. It doesn't play out, so what? So what? Who cares? You know, the only person who should care is you, because you're following your rules. Sometimes I take a sell on stream and people tell me, oh, that's a bad idea. Or I take a buy on stream and people tell me, oh, that's a bad idea. But who cares? Just follow your rules. You know, wear your heart on your sleeve. If you think it's a buy, awesome, say it. I'd rather take the sell and hold my profits for morning. If it sells, you also got that liquidity grab situation over here too. Boom, left shoulder head, potential right shoulder, break of the lows, and then to continue moving down bearish. So that would be a really nice confluence. A little head and shoulders, daily trend. By that point, your SMAs are going to be in your favor as well. You got the 15 in there too. See that? 15-minute low, 15-minute holding price down. Let's see the 30-minute. 30 minutes still needs to catch up. 30-minute SMA. Now the 5-minute will be reflipping. Look at the way the 5 minutes bullying that 5-minute candle. See, you could give it like a nice little reflip. You see how it's bullying it? Then you got that liquidity grab at the highs. So it's all a game of who's more confident. You know, like, are you confident as a buy? Can it go up? Or would you just wait for the sell? Your signal only has daily bias. Can you put it on the 5-minute time frame, for example? No. This bias here is also for the 5-minute time frame. That daily bias is for all the time frames. You think market's gonna discriminate? Look at how price has been moving here on the 1-minute time frame. You think market is gonna discriminate between a higher time frame moving down or a lower time frame? Everything's gonna move down. If the higher time frame is moving down, even the lower time frames are moving down, sir. So you see what you're doing again? You're complicating it. This is exactly what I mean, chat. Like, watch this video. Please watch this video. You guys don't watch my other videos. And these videos, I'm making them to actually support only the ones who really want to put in some work. You know, and there's only very few of you guys who actually want to put in the work, unfortunately. But watch this video where I'm explaining this mindset of always trying to overcomplicate things. I don't know where you guys go. Like, where do you go after the stream? Do you like forget the channel exists? Like, why just join the live stream and then not watch the other videos? I'm just trying to understand the mindset. That's all. Like, what are you guys chasing? Are you just chasing like excitement because it's more exciting to watch a live stream? Or do you genuinely just want to learn how to trade? You see, it's like either you're genuinely wanting to learn how to trade or you're not. Because I think like a lot of y'all are chasing entertainment. That's why after this, you're going to go watch FX Alex G in Dubai claim that he's the first trillionaire trader. That's what you're going to do. But we don't do that here.
We don't do that here.
Like, you don't have time to waste. If you need to be a successful trader, you don't have time to waste, guys. Like, literally. Because people who waste like 5-6 years trying to do this thing, and it's not fun. It's not fun. You don't want to just be watching people. Alright, so it's breaking the lows. This for me would feel more comfortable. You know, in any case, let's say even if price was to fake out both the buyers and the sellers, for me, I would feel more comfortable still taking a sell in line with the daily buys being bearish. We're gonna see what happens over here because we just washed the buyers right now. So the buyers just got washed because it got triggered here. It was a cool 30 pips though, so you could have caught a nice little 30 pip move. But for anyone still holding, like in the grand scheme of things, it's just washed the buyers. It's washed the buyers because it's come down here towards these lows. Now let's see for the sellers. But you know, for the sellers, I would be expecting more of a continuation. You know, for the buys, whatever, 30 pips, you know, who cares? Like 30 pips, just a nice little decent move. You're not moving with the trend. But for the sellers, I expect a lot more from these sellers than just a 30-minute push, 30 pip push, and then reversal. For the sellers, I would be expecting more than that, even down towards like 38.88. Because again, we're going with the daily bias. You did the indicator yourself? Oh, yes. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead and watch the video for prop payouts. Those guys are real. The days of scamming YT gurus is over. All right, then. Thank you, John. You can now leave the stream that you're hating on. You know, which is honestly ridiculous. Your parents must be so proud of you. Coming onto a stream, enjoying the content. You're the type of guy to go to a restaurant, eat the food, and say you don't like it. And then ask for a refund. And say, I didn't actually like it. Then why did you eat the food? Why did you eat the whole thing if you didn't like it, John? Bro, I've been here since your lives 1+ year. Only take like 2 same trades like you because I got a different strategy, but love your content. Thank you, Diego. Diogo. Y'all think that this can actually fake out the sellers? It's kind of wild that the buys played out a lot cleaner though. Sellers are struggling a bit more. But that's why I don't overtrade, you know, because I know even though like no matter how good the setup is, no matter how good the day could be, it's not worth an overtrade. Just take 1 trade a session. The best advice I can give you guys is if you're planning on trading, let's say the London session, pre-London, whatever session it is that you're trading, just do 1 trade. 1 trade, 1 trade. If it's NY session, 1 trade, that's it. It doesn't matter what happens in between. That's none of your business. We can just paper trade these things and say, okay, you know, buys could have worked out. Okay, you know, the sells would not have worked out. And you don't have to actually risk money on every single trade. If you're taking already 2 trades a day, that's going to add up quite a lot by the end of the month. Let's say if you're taking 2 times, let's see, 20, you could be having like 30 trades potentially. 30 plus. If you're hitting like 2 trades a day, you could have like 30, 40 trades a month. I'm expecting that and less stress, just waiting and then execute. Then it is what it is and leave. Yeah, exactly. You know, the only reason I'm still doing analysis is because, you know, we're here as a community and, you know, we're just watching price. But this is the same reason I don't overtrade, is because the more you're on the charts, the more trades you're going to lose. That's the only reason I'm here, is just to like banter. But like once I have my trade for the day, I'm done for the day. It's simple. I go do something else. Because I know the more I'm here, the more I'm putting myself back in that 90+% of people who are failing in the market. That's why I always advocate for 1 trade per session. You're always going to see me take 1 trade pre-London, 1 trade London. And if I lost this trade in London, I'd maybe look for another trade in pre-NY. Simple. But I'm not going to fight the market. The price dropped momentarily because of this news. United Health Q3 2025 earnings. I'm in the generally want to learn group. Glad to hear it, Jay. If it's right trades don't give a hard time, then it's worth. Yep. Best trades don't give a hard time, right? That's why a situation like this, you see how it's already giving the sellers here a hard time? I'd have already cut this out. That's why we have that 35% mark. Because even if I had a 16 pip stop loss, I'd already be out at 16 pips right there. So I don't have to take that additional... let's see. This would be an additional 54 pip drawdown. Because we don't need it at that point anymore. Your best trades are not going to give you a hard time. That's a beautiful thing about TFX concepts is you actually know what your best trades, what are not your best trades. So it helps you react more accordingly, more precisely. You could save a lot more money. None of this is financial advice. I'm just telling you guys like the way we see the markets. If anything, I'm proof that you can easily learn and become profitable from watching. Treat the streams like live lectures and the videos as projects to study and backtest in 2 years will be up. Let's go, Woods. I'm trying to do this as much as possible to grow this community without showing anything like what most people do to grow channels. Very easy to grow a channel like these other gurus do. These gurus you look at, you look at and you want to become so much, you can't even live trade. They don't even have it in them. All they can do is show you a Bugatti. And then you're going to say, where's your Bugatti, Vic? Man, come on now, stop playing with me. Like these guys, they can't do what we do. Like the live streaming traders are the real traders. I think you got it twisted. All these live streaming guys coming on here every single day, putting in the work for your education, 2-hour stream, 3-hour stream, taking wins, losses right in front of you. These are the guys who are actually doing it. You're just too obsessed with the stupid content of a guy who shows you something nice, and then that's the guy you want to follow. The most famous guy in this industry doesn't even live trade. He just shows cars. These are the guys you're looking up to, and the forged documents. I don't even know what to say. It's just some real dumb shit mindset. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. I'm trying to avoid doing and going down that route because that's a bullshit route. These guys will just show you something nice. You'll buy the course. And then at the end of the day, it's like you don't see them actually do it live. Even TGR doesn't do it live. People write TGR's dick like crazy. The guy doesn't even do it live. If you go on his Twitch videos are literally him gambling. He's gambling on an online casino. Like, he's not even trading, he's gambling. And the videos you see on YouTube, those are freaking recorded videos. Those are not live. That's literally a guy who hits record and then can decide if he wants to upload or not. Or, you know, if he gets a good one, fine, he'll upload it. If he doesn't get a good one, maybe he tries again. But it's not live. Just because he hit record and he runs it for like 2 hours does not make it live. What we do, the actual live streamers, are the real traders. These guys can't do it live. Like, really think about it. Go on all their YouTube channels. These people you look up to. Like, majority of them don't do it live. And I don't want to hate or anything, but it's just the truth. So when you get a guy in here, come in here and say, oh, the days where YouTube gurus are over. Man, these are the same guys who are following 5-minute videos and then a guy showing them a Lamborghini. Dude, even ICT, one of the biggest freaking traders on YouTube, doesn't even do it live. Bro, ICT cannot come here and do this. We're in two different realms. Me and ICT were not the same. You know, he can't do this. That's why he doesn't do this. He doesn't do live trading like this. There's a reason why he doesn't do that. Like, on God. If you put me up against ICT, I'd wash him. He doesn't do this live, guys. How can you not do it live? He just shows you. He explains things super complicated. One thing works out, he says that's the one. That's the model. If it doesn't work out, he'll say, no, that was the actual model. This was the one that was supposed to be taken. Because there are way too many models to know which one actually is the one he would take. So he can go on Twitter and then post the one that he says, oh, that's the one that you should have taken. But he wouldn't do it live. Like, it's not rocket science. Do you consider doing World Championship or something like that? Yeah, in the future. I don't know how it works, but in the future for sure. Like, maybe in a few years. So, you know, like big up to all the live streamers out there who actually do it live on YouTube. You guys are the real OGs. And I think, you know, we really differentiate ourselves over here on this platform by live streaming trades. We're the most transparent people, not the ones who claim to be transparent, don't do it live. That's all just bullshit. So yeah, hats off to everybody. I don't know if y'all even watch the stream, but yeah, you guys are the real traders. Coming on here every day, Monday to Friday, putting in the work. Those are the real traders. Anyone can freaking sit on their ass for a whole week and make one video. Oh, I'm going to make one video. It's going to get 100,000 views, but it's just going to be like, literally, come on now. If I had a whole week sitting on my ass, I could also make a freaking awesome video. But I'm actually trading every day. I don't have a content creator follow me around. These guys make like one awesome ass video, like once every week or once every 2 weeks, get so many views. But it's because they have time to do that. If you look at the way my day is scheduled, I don't even have time to do that. Because I'm too busy, like either giving you like just raw knowledge or I'm trading. So I don't have time to even show you like lifestyle videos. Like if I genuinely want to help you and like put out content, I don't have time to show you lifestyle videos. Volume profile increasing around 3,900 on Goldie. Yeah, because after the stream, this is how my day is. In the morning, I wake up, breakfast, first trade pre-London, jump onto stream. After stream, I have lunch. And if I still need to take another trade, that means after stream, I'm still on the charts for a little bit longer. And then I have lunch. And then after I take lunch, I'm usually kind of tired. So might have a power nap. And then after my power nap, you know, probably have a workout. And after my workout, it's already, you know, heading towards the end of the day kind of for me. So then at that point, I'm going to be having already dinner. And then that cycle kind of repeats itself. So there's no time to fuck around. When you're making money, when you're on the money routine, I call it the money routine, you don't really have time to do anything else. You know, a lot of you, if you had a strategy, which you can see was profitable and consistent, all you had to do was show up like once in a while, you'd also be on that money routine. You know, everything else would just be a distraction. And the majority of my day is actually producing content for you guys. Like that's majority of my day. Otherwise, if I would just take one trade in the pre-London and one trade now, I would have a lot more time free to make those lifestyle videos for you. But since I'm doing live streams, I can't have time to make those lifestyle videos because those lifestyle videos, they don't give you value. It's a great way to grow a channel, but it's just not going to give you value. Been watching your live streams for the past few months, and ever since my trading's improved. Man, glad to hear it, Xavier. Head and shoulders is playing out. Yeah, this is a garbage trade. I think it's taking long. It's consolidating here. It's still gearing up. You see, kind of like had a fluctuation up here and a fluctuation down over here. It's kind of gearing up, but it's stuck in accumulation. You, Holmes, time to eat trading rule. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I know, like, time to eat trading is pretty dope. I have nothing against live streamers. Like, I want that to be clear. I have nothing against live streamers. It's just we put in the most work and we get the less out of it. You know, it's not like we need the validation, but it's just a damn shame. The people who put in the most work, you know, sometimes they're getting like the less out of it. But you know, it is what it is. This is fun for me. I'm having fun. It just sometimes it gets to me. But it's not why I started this in the first place. But you know, sometimes I just feel like I gotta say something, you know, like sometimes you feel like you gotta say something. You know what I mean? Because I see these guys, man. I see these guys like really struggling, like putting in the work, really trying to teach people. And then you get one person like post one video a freaking week, you get like 100,000 views. It's like, what the fuck? And then that what makes people like us feel to be unauthentic is that reaction that we see that makes you want to feel like to be unauthentic. You know, it's like, why do I do this? Why do I actually want to help people? People don't actually want to be helped. People just want entertainment. And then you start thinking to yourself, okay, what am I doing here? Am I on YouTube to actually help people, or am I on YouTube to grow my channel? And you know, that's a crossroad that you really got to pick the right direction. So for me, I've already picked the direction that I want to help people. You know, I'm not going to take this route. This is a growth route, super fast, super quick. And this is the authentic knowledge route, where this audience is, you know, this is the people that you want to focus on, not this people. So every one of us live streamers have gotten to this point where it's like, are we going to start showing stupid lifestyle videos and paying editors a good amount of money to make a sick video? Or do I just go the authentic route and just provide knowledge? You know? So you got to be very clear on what you want. People want to be told what to do. Where's the next support? Yeah, man, this thing is not gonna go anywhere anytime soon, because you know you got support and you got resistance. This range is 137 pips. You know, the hardest thing to learn from you, Vic, for me is following rules and mindset. That is something that depends on me only, because strategy is easy, but for me, it's a struggle to even know you're right and follow the correct mindset. Yeah, that is why it's important for me to be here all days, to keep repeating. And I felt day by day by getting closer. That's what I like to hear. You know, it's a journey, man. It's a journey. It's easier to be on this journey. The less trades that you take. That's literally the easiest thing that you can do today that's going to make your journey a lot more better. Because it's about being a better trader, not trading more. Appreciate it, Luke. You know, you're being a better trader. Your job is not to trade more, it's to trade better. Would you say it's gearing to go up? I think like it's still bearish. It's 50-50. It's moving sideways, but I would say more bearish. Like that's what we've covered already. You see this? It doesn't mean this is over just because it's consolidating. It could just be consolidating to continue pushing down. Actually, if you look at it on the 5-minute, this looks like a head and shoulders. You know, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. That SMA, still trying to get respected over there. But I think it's because, you know, this trade in particular is coming so late in the day that you've already had so many beautiful trades play out that we've had a situation now where the shock had to come in. You know, the shock had to come in and mitigate. He had to come in and say, all right, listen, guys, you know, it's time to chill a bit here, because we've been already moving beautifully since Asia, like very early pre-London. So that's what we're seeing over here, a bit of mitigation. So just wait. I still think the buys are risky. Obviously, the first buys we called out here were risky as well. They still did a genuine push, quite risky. The sells didn't give the push, and it pushed back into the range. So it's still in an area that I call a no trade zone. It's like 50-50. Because you see, it's not moving like it was before. Before, it was more clean to get a setup and then continuation. Setup, continuation. Now you can feel that the market has slowed down. It's probably waiting till let's see the hourly candle. Got support 38.88. Clean range. Yeah, it could be a reversal. It could be the start of a reversal. If it actually respects these lows here by 38.97, you might be looking at this as a form of liquidity, getting the seller stuck in, and then re-break of the highs to move up. But it still looks quite messy even like that, because that's a head right here. Left shoulder, right shoulder. It would still look a lot cleaner for it to move down. Unless price came up first, pulled down, created a bit of structure, and then broke again. Like the buyers are slowly trying to rip up. You can see with the amount of wicks which are being created over here. You see the buyers are trying to rip this thing up, but we'll see. It's like Elon Musk rocket over here. You know, you got the ignition on, you got the fire coming out, and they're trying to shoot this thing up here. Your streamer saved many from the Bugatti, guys. Lifestyle brings in new eyes. Yeah, live streams keep the people who really want to learn. That's true. Oh, you're like the Mac Miller of trading, like hanging out with a homie while getting extremely valuable gems for free, making trading less lonely. Appreciate you 100%, man. Thank you, Maru. You know what's wild is I've been listening to Mac Miller of late as well. Man, I remember I went to Mac Miller concert, one of the very few before he killed himself. It was a pretty awesome concert. That was when his album, you know, the one with the Weekend, Everything Be Good by the Weekend. That was like, I think one of his last albums. Yeah, man, that was one of my favorite rappers. R.I.P. Mac Mizzle. Banter, banter, banter. Oops. Yeah, that zone is close to the zone 38.88 to 38.93. That's price moves up. Okay, so it's a fair price. Now, whatever is gonna happen with gold, it's coming out of this zone here. You see, like every time, the first time we see it, because we can't see into the future, so we can only trade what we see at the current moment. So this was the first thing that we saw. We thought maybe this would be the rip up. It ripped up 30 pips and then faked the sellers, faked the buyers. Then it came down. We said, okay, you know, maybe it was a squeeze, so price breaks these lows to continue pushing down. Broke the lows, faked the sellers over here. Now you see it's stuck in the range. Because remember, the market has almost like a mind of its own, right? It has a mind of its own. So if it was not planning to go anywhere, it's not going to go anywhere just yet. Even if you have a setup confirmation like this, if this for it is not ready, then it's not ready. It's going to play around here until it's ready, and then it's going to make a move. It's going to build enough orders for the real distribution. Just don't forget who's king at the end of the day, right? Don't forget who's king. The market is king. Remember, the market is the one who dictates if it's time to go or if it's not time to go. In my opinion, I truly believe that the market operates anonymously. We have market participants, but I think in situations especially like this, it doesn't really matter too much. Even if a big player comes in, I feel like price can always decide to still wait for a bit longer. Because sometimes when you've been trading for so many years, you start to realize, like we mentioned before, there's a weird pattern in the way the markets move, which is not random. It's very efficient. So you got two types of mindsets. You got the people who believe markets are efficient and the ones who believe that they're random. You know, if you believe that they're random, then everything looks like spaghetti to you. It looks confusing to you. But if you put in the chart time, you're going to start to notice these patterns happen over and over and over and over again, that it cannot just be random. It's very efficient. And it's very, what's the word? Like, it moves with a lot of conviction. It does things with conviction, not by accident. Like, you see things like this happen, break and then come down, or like break and then come up. It's like a lot of conviction. It's not just by accident. But you know, as traders, what we like to do, because we don't like to talk about the boogeyman too much, we like to look at it just in terms of probabilities. So it's always like, what's the probability that that buy would have continued moving up? Or what's the probability that this sell would have continued moving down? You know? So whenever you take a trade, you always got to see like in terms of probabilities. Don't think too much about the boogeyman. So you see, like when we took a sell over here, it was just a probabilities game. What's the probability price was to go in our favor as opposed to the probability of price going up, when we can see how the chart is already moving? See, higher probability moves down. Higher probability, see? Just think in terms of probabilities. Don't think in terms of somebody is out to get you, because that's a slippery slope. When you start doing things like that and you start making up stories like this, it's a slippery slope. What do I mean by the boogeyman? Boogeyman is what the SMC traders are going to feed you. They're going to start telling you about stories about this and that. And it's a lot of like stories, you know, it's a lot of stories that they just don't have any solid kind of a proof. They'll tell you things like, just go on ICT, watch ICT videos. He talks a lot about the boogeyman. That's why we talk about the boogeyman. The institution. That's why he'll feed you on. That's the whole rhetoric around what he does, is to instill fear in you that you feel like you need to be part of this exclusive group of people because you're not a retail trader. If you join the community, you're no longer a retail trader. Where are my whips? ICT need whips. Can you imagine a guy sitting at home teaching you these things, saying that he's not a retail trader? That's what they do. That's what they think they are. They think they're not retail traders. People who trade those concepts. It's freaking hilarious. These guys seriously need character development. I don't know why our industry is going in this route. You know, that's why we have like this. Where did we post it? Over here. See this guy? Goes into a hedge fund, starts talking about some bullshit.
Mate, this isn't YouTube. We use real strategies. Mate, this isn't YouTube. We use real strategies.
It's a joke, bro. There's nobody who's sitting at home who is not a retail trader. It doesn't matter how impressive somebody has packaged it for you. Like even, you know, some of the world's best traders you can Google on YouTube and it might look very impressive. Trust me, all that's just fugazi. It's just packaged very nicely, very professional. These guys are all retail traders. We're all retail traders. So don't get it twisted. Stay on your lane. Because the moment I realized that, that's when I stopped losing a lot more than I needed to have lost. When I stopped trying to beat a system that I could not beat ever. Because it's too big of a system for me to beat. You know, but we can leverage off of like, we're like the small fishies. You know, when a whale is swimming through the ocean and you got those small fishies kind of like just swimming along the whale. You know, the whale creates momentum. And then we're the retail traders, we just go with the momentum. That's what we are. But what you think you are, you think you're the whale when you start learning those systems. So it's like, you know, the moment you realize what lane you're on, the safer you're going to be. You're going to be flowing with the whale. You're not going to try and figure out the whale and, you know, try and be the whale. Like you're going to swim next to the whale and you're going to be looking at the whale and you're going to say, hey, I want to be a whale too. You know, it doesn't work like that. We can all be happy with understanding simple concepts that work. We don't have to overcomplicate it if you don't want to. That's a personal choice. Because as we already showed you, and as we speak about this every day, when the market moves, it moves. It's going to move in a certain direction. So it's all a matter of like, how are you catching that movement? Are you catching off FVG, a Fibonacci, something complicated? Or are you catching it off something simple? Because in any case, anybody who caught a sell today, they caught on different concepts, correct? But the market was the king at the end of the day. The whale was moving. You know, so you just got to choose how you want to do it. And just avoid areas like this as well, because this is an area where a lot of people, the force trades in these zones, and then the market's not going anywhere. It's like the whale stops and you're trying to push the whale. See, if the whale is not moving, then how are you going to know the direction? Is there an indicator that's going to tell you when the whale wants to wake up? Maybe the whale's taking a power nap right now. Is there an indicator that's going to tell you when he's going to wake up? Let me tell you the best indicator for when the whale is going to wake up is you're going to power nap with the whale and you're just going to wait for the whale to wake up. And then you're going to start feeling the water flow. The water's flowing, something's moving. And you start looking at the whale and you're like, damn, all right, this guy's on the move right now. So you're going to be like Shark Tale. Will Smith and Shark Tale. You're going to follow the whale. That's the only way you're going to know he's moving. There's no other way that you're going to know he's moving with an indicator until he actually moves. Is there a strategy to trade Is there a strategy to trade consolidation? Oh, like in the middle of it? Yeah, we call them like a John Wicks. These are the people who are like gonna be selling the highs and buying the lows. Gbpjpy an ICT concept and it works. You got students with the receipts all over the world. I'm not hating on ICT. I'm just saying that, you know, also the way they say things is insane. Like sometimes I listen to these guys and it's honestly insane. But listen, whatever. Everybody has their own things, right? Everybody has their own perspective. It's a free world. Whatever. I'm just telling you my opinion. He went in. I went in without confirmation. Let's see. It's literally a free world, but you know, it is what it is. Some people are waiting for me to lose on stream as well so they can talk shit. And that's just the way life goes. What can you do? You can't do anything. Everyone focuses on their own journey at the end of the day. Opinions don't really matter as much. There's my opinion. My opinion shouldn't... It can matter to you, it cannot matter to you. You know, it doesn't make a difference for me. Just like your own opinions, they could matter to somebody else or not. It doesn't make a difference for you, right? What is this? Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one, as they say. What did you do here? You took a sell. 163. I mean, I would be very cautious about this consolidation. This consolidation looks like it might be the inception of a pullback. It first did one fake out here. Gotta see if this second breakout here is the actual breakout. But you see the way it's moving right now, it's not moving like it was moving before with this bearish momentum. We might be seeing some pullbacks. You're 100% correct. They all use the big words to overcomplicate things. They're very confusing. Don't understand most of the words they use. I think it's a younger generation. From what I've seen, at least on Instagram and social media, it's a lot of like younger kids, like 18, 17, like, you know, like a lot of youthful people. That's definitely a trend that's going on. It's also just like a trend thing, you know. And I have no idea what they're saying. It makes me actually feel old. When I hear these FEG people speak, these ICT people speak, I literally feel like I'm older than I am, because I don't understand what the fuck they're saying. And it feels like they're the cool kids, right? They're the cool kids in the cafeteria, right? The ICT guys, they're kind of like the cool kids. And if you don't know what they're saying, they're gonna be like, man, this guy doesn't even know institutions. This guy's my liquidity, bro. That's the type of guys that you're dealing with. You know, but for me, it's quite simple. I think it's very simple, because when we talk about things like accumulation and breakouts, I'm sure 90+% of this chat just knows or has a relative idea of what accumulation and breakout is. But if you start talking to me about these inducements, I have no freaking idea what an inducement is. You know, so we're the actual cool kids, because everybody can come and sit at our table, because, you know, we're gonna use simple terms, and these simple terms you can talk to literally anybody about. Trending markets, psychological marks, accumulation distribution, SMA confluences, moving averages, something a lot of us use and understand. But it's trying to break out. It's trying to break out now. This volume is trying to get distributed. Question is whether this is the actual breakout, but there's a lot of volume coming in from it. Alright guys, gotta be right back. Do you think gold finally end its retracement? I think if there's any point in the market that gold will reverse, this is as good a point as any other because of the amount of structure that's been formed here. Because you see, there's a difference, isn't it? Like, there's a huge difference between the way candlesticks were looking here as price was moving down. This is much earlier in the day as well. Then there is here. So if anything, this definitely has some gas in it to give us the start of the pullback. The start of the pullback to the upside. That's why timing is super important, you know? Like, because you're going to come in later during the day and then see the sells. Maybe you're still bearish. But even with the daily bias, sometimes it's like you're a bit off because of the timing. You know, so we're just going to keep monitoring price. But yeah, I think I'm definitely done for the day. I'm not going to be taking any more positions. I'm just gonna like paper trade. I'm gonna let price move for a bit and then give like an update after stream. I'll post you an update of where price potentially might be heading. But you know, I think we're heading up over here potentially. If we break 39.15, we have this clean range. Remember we spoke about this is about 186 pips potential for a retracement, a pull back up. But remember, we're still in the early stages of this. If this is going to be a pull up, we're in a very early stage of this happening. This is literally the first point A. A good progression of price would be if we could break above resistance by 39.15 and then continue to push upwards. See, you've been on fire lately, bro. Keep it up, champ. Do you do anything outside of trading that helps you stay consistent and locked in and to always be disciplined? Your emotions always in check. I think it's just honestly, I have no idea. I think it's just, as you know, in last stream we spoke about frequencies and just being on the right frequency with the things that you want to achieve in life. And I honestly believe it's just all about being on the right frequency. Oh yeah, just paid for TradingView right now. Got a receipt. Thank you for your purchase, TradingView. Yeah, I think it's just about that. It's a mindset. Because you want to be better, right? You want to be better for yourself. Because no one's coming to save you at the end of the day. You're only going to save yourself. So that fear of no one is coming to save me is what drives me every day. The fear of nobody's going to tell me what's a good thing to do. The fear of nobody's going to tell me how to eat healthy or how to keep myself healthy, how to keep my mindset healthy. That fear that nobody is coming to save you keeps me motivated and keeps me disciplined and keeps me going. It's a similar fear to what people experience as they get into adulthood as well, when they feel like they should be out on their own now. But you know, when you want to achieve a lot more with your life, that fear is increased. It's more potent. You should be afraid that you're not where you want to be in life right now. That should freaking scare the shit out of you. You know, the good thing about me is I've only been doing this for 6 years, so there's still plenty of time to go. You know, but that fear of not achieving what you want is what drives you. And it's an unfortunate thing because you're never going to be satisfied. So it's kind of like you're going into this knowing that you're never going to be happy. Like, to say that you're never going to be satisfied in that sense. That's the journey of an entrepreneur. You always want more. More you get to this level, you're going to get to this next level. But at least if you know that, it's a lot nicer than if you don't know that. Because if you don't know that, then you fall into depression. Because there's always a level to get into. But if you start this journey and you know there's always going to be another level on top of the level on top of the level, that's what you sign up for, right? Some people give their whole lives to something like that. Like if you look at some politicians, their whole life is politics up until the day that they die. And you know, they could look back at their life and say, man, you know, like 20 years ago, I already had all the money that I wanted. I could just live my life, enjoy my family. enjoy living the world. But you get to a point where it's like, damn, you know, this is what I do. This is all I know. So I'm gonna die doing this. Yeah, you find a lot of like wealthy people also. Maybe they don't live a life, because they're in this mindset always of acquiring and getting better. But for them, that's their life. That's what satisfies them. Even if they die and they don't live a life in that sense, for them, that's living a life, if that makes sense. Chasing what they do. That's why I use an example of politicians, because most politicians will keep going up until the tail end. Oh man, look at this. So it's just like, you got to be very sure what you want. Do you want a family? Do you want balance? Go do something else. Don't be an entrepreneur. If you want to have, you know, a proper balance, don't be an entrepreneur. Because balance does not exist for an entrepreneur. And man, hats off to any entrepreneurs out there who are doing it and doing it with a healthy family system. And you found a way to manage a little bit with having a family and running a business and doing all that. Like, hats off to you guys. Because man, that is not easy. That's very difficult. Road to 4,000. Yeah, road to 4,000, you know, so that's a long way. That's like 143 pips away. I'm just trying to take it step by step. Road to 30, 39, 35 if we keep moving up. But you see, we just had the shotgun. So remember Jay? Jay asked this much earlier on in the stream about these ranges. Remember the thing that we drew for Jay? Like if a candlestick was going to close above resistance and then break. So that's kind of ideally what you would have wanted to see. So that's what we had happen right here. Candlestick closed above resistance, broke the previous highs, moved up like 64 pips. It would have been better if it had the continuation. It's kind of wild that it pushed 64 pips and still came down to close bearish right here and create resistance. But still, pretty good move. You know, we drew this and that's what we anticipated there. And now it's all about like, how can we fill this range? How can price continue to move up there? See this? This is what we drew early on in the stream. Candlestick close above. Oh, let's close the chat over here. See, candlestick close above 39.14 and then to fill up the range. But you see in this scenario over here, the next candle pushed up first and then let's create a small resistance like this. But it's still pretty nice push. Pretty decent sized push. Break and retest. Breaky. See, silver here is at the all-time highs. Expecting pullbacks. Let's look at GJ. GJ accumulating over here on the daily. Oh man, GJ looks like terrible PA again. You got support over here. You got resistance. It hasn't been moving anywhere. We had some pretty nice run from GJ here. But you can see for the most part, see a beautiful run here. And for the most part, that's what GJ has been doing. Accumulating on the daily and the higher time frames. Very choppy. Garbage price action. You don't want to trade GJ. Intraday time frames. Damn. Actually, that looks quite nice off the intradays. The dailies look like garbage. Dailies look like this. Man, look at these sell-offs though on GJ. But still, overall, can't compare GJ to gold. What's your favorite pair to trade? Leave it in the chat, guys. Let me see what you guys trade. I just assume that we're all trading gold, but I know a bunch of y'all are trading maybe different things like Gbpjpy CAD, NZD USD, Euro JPY. NQ. Yeah, NAS 100. What do you guys like really trade? Gold and Nasdaq. Nobody trades here. The dirty 30. Wait, the dirty 30 is moving over here on the 5-minute. Little accumulation breakout. Nasty pull up. Oh yeah, we got US 30 and NQ. Oh nice. Yeah, you see you got a nice little breakout here. Look at this 5-minute. Man, these are wild. Because like when you get a winning trade, man, it's a winning trade. We got a losing trade, it's just the same way. But look at this. How does this even look? Can you actually take a trade? What if it hits your stop loss? How bad is it? Because this doesn't seem... If it's not so bad, then if you get a winning trade, then that would look amazing. Because you can expect with Dirty 30 that you're going to have a really crazy push every now and then. But how does that look for the sells, the stop loss? Like, how fast are these moves? Let's go on the 1-minute. Jesus. Yeah, it looks like it's pretty fast over there. Man, that's a 1-minute push. Holy. You see our super secret indicator here is telling us that the daily bias on US 30 is a weighting bias. So we don't have any sort of a direction over here. See, daily's like a doji. Now Goldie's trying to fill up that range. It's still trying to move up on the 5-minute time frame here. See a small little wick fill. That's the whole zone we're looking at towards like 39.35. What's that? Maybe you should try different. Gold, NQ, gold, Bitcoin, Tesla gold. Alright guys, I'm gonna head out here. See you all tomorrow. Remember to tune in to the best London session stream. Let's get it. And take care everyone.
No time for this slip, homie. Now we bout to dip.